Right now at 5, it's a hung jury for the triple homicide trial in La Crosse County Court.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 5.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 5. I'm Ken Kozarowski. The trial of a man charged in connection to a 2021 triple homicide has ended in a deadlock. News 8 Now's Dua Israr was at court this morning where jurors were unable to come to a unanimous conclusion. Good evening, Dua.
Ken, Tao faces 3 charges of first-degree intentional homicide and a possession of a firearm by a felon as a party to a crime. Jurors deliberated for more than 10 hours but couldn't come to an agreement. Now this case could go to trial once more. Over the course of last week, jurors heard testimonies from several witnesses, including investigators, eyewitness Bridget Schlicht, and 45-year-old Kamthanath Ratanasak, the other man facing charges for that 2021 triple homicide. Prosecutors argued that Tao was the one who pulled the trigger at the Rom Squad quarry, killing 3 men over a $600 debt. The defense raised concerns about Ratanasak and Schlicht's testimonies. The gun was Ratanasak's, and Schlicht was an active meth user at the time of the crime. District Attorney Tim Grinke says the outcome was disappointing.
Well, it's always disappointing when we don't have a conclusion, but I think it's hard to get 12 people to agree about much of anything, so it's really not that surprising. It's just frustrating that we're not done yet with the case.
Grinke says he wants to see people held accountable for the victims. He says another trial may not happen for at least 4 to 6 months. Tao's attorney Aaron Nelson says it's clear reasonable doubt existed. A bond hearing is scheduled for Tao next week. Ken?
All right, Dua, thanks very much. Tao will remain in custody for now. Now, victims are recovering after a Saturday morning drive-by shooting in downtown La Crosse. The incident on 3rd Street is La Crosse's first mass shooting in recent years. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen joins us live on 3rd Street with the latest. Good evening, Emily.
Ken, the scene here downtown is fairly quiet. It's very different from how it looked on Saturday morning. As you can see right here behind me, witnesses say a bullet shot through the glass right here at Polito's Pizza. Shots rang out just after 2 in the morning and at least 6 were injured. Casey Delphi, who says she was in Polito's at that time, was one of the 6 hit by a bullet. She says she didn't expect that to happen in downtown La Crosse.
I remember feeling something hit my leg, and then I looked down and my leg was bleeding. And I was alone at Polito's.
Casey says she ran to the back to get help and saw 2 others get hit by bullets inside. She was taken to a hospital in La Crosse. Now doctors tell her it'll be another 2 to 3 weeks before her bullet wound will close and heal. So she says that she hopes that the shooter knows how many people he hurt, both physically and mentally. Live in La Crosse, this is Emily Haugen. Ken, back to you.
Traumatic experience. Thank you, Emily. DeAndrew Grant is the person accused of opening fire in downtown. His bond is set at $1 million cash and is being held in jail on charges of attempted homicide. A court official says he will appear again in court tomorrow. This weekend, the family of Madeline Kingsbury will be hosting a memorial service. The service will be hosted on Sunday, June 25th at Winona State University's McCowan Gym at 1 p.m. The service is open for the public to attend. It will also be live streamed for those who are unable to go in person. Doors to the McCowan will open at noon. We will have a link with more info on news8000.com.
Well, sure was a very hot day today across the area. High temperatures were into the upper 80s and some spots even reached the low 90s here this afternoon. Now, as we take a look at your zone forecast tonight, our temperatures will be dropping into the 50s and low 60s in La Crosse County with a low of 63 in La Crosse. We're looking at 60 tonight in Stoddard, 58 in Westby, 59 Soldiers Grove, 59 tonight in Brownsville, and 63 to the north in La Crescent. As we head to our central zones, lows into the 50s in many spots out there, with lows around 54 in Melrose, 56 in Osseo, and 57 tonight in Arcadia. And as we head north into the Chippewa Valley, we're looking at lows into the mid to upper 50s, with 59 tonight expected under clear skies in Eau Claire. Here's a check on your 8 to 8 forecast. Those clear skies will continue throughout the rest of this evening and tonight, and also through early tomorrow morning. Still looking at those mainly clear weather conditions with seasonable temperatures, as temperatures drop from the 80s and 70s down to the 60s tonight and also into early tomorrow morning with a light easterly wind. Back to you.
Derek, thanks very much. Now, the Canadian wildfires this month have triggered a new air quality alert for our viewers in Winona, Wabasha, Houston, and Fillmore counties. The alert is active until 9 on Thursday night, so people with any breathing issues, as well as kids and older adults, should reduce long times outdoors if you're in those counties. The city of La Crosse is closing a small stretch of Charles Street on the city's north side. The road from Sill Street to Gillette Street will be closed until tomorrow as crews are making repairs to water distribution there. Wisconsin's governor is calling today a historic day as he signs a bill that sends more money to fund municipalities statewide. Governor Tony Evers signed the bipartisan shared revenue bill in Wausau today, surrounded by Republican and Democratic lawmakers. The law gives Milwaukee City and County the power to raise its own sales tax to avoid bankruptcy and dishes out about $1 billion to all municipalities across the state. The shared revenue program had faced cuts in the last 30 years, forcing communities like those in the Coulee region to recently call for referendums just to cover the costs of things like police, fire, and EMS services. At a tour of fire services in Chippewa Falls this afternoon, Evers called the signed bill a game changer for Wisconsin communities.
They've been struggling for years without increases and increases. Now they're tied to a source of revenue that will increase over time.
That $1 billion spending increase will come from tapping 20% of the state sales tax revenue. And that new money will be on top of existing property tax levies and shared income tax revenue that have previously been funding this shared revenue program. Just ahead this evening, the president's son striking a plea deal, and a wave of criticism from lawmakers is now pouring in. We've got the details next.
With Bygoff and Rohde, you don't just get a lawyer. You get the experience and power of our entire team of lawyers, paralegals, legal assistants, and researchers. Bygoff and Rohde, your personal injury law firm for over 50 years.
Get 11% off all concrete landscaping blocks from Menards. Check out our huge selection of landscaping blocks, including interlock edgers, that are now only 99 cents each after rebate. Keep a variety of birds coming back to your feeder with Enchanted Garden Wild Bird Food. We carry a great selection of high-quality blends to ensure only the best for your backyard friends. Get a 40-pound bag of wild bird food for just $14.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Does your pet show signs of an irritated mouth, like bad breath or abnormal chewing habits? The most common emergency that Dr. Mark Hine at Wisconsin Veterinary Orthopedics sees is a painful tooth that owners are seldom aware of. Contact Dr. Mark Hine at Wisconsin Veterinary Orthopedics in Holmen today to schedule a free dental exam. 608-526-2200, because nobody likes a sore tooth.
Are you feeling confused or overwhelmed by all your Medicare choices? You're not alone.
We have recommended his brother, my sister, and my brother.
They answered all of my questions clearly and concisely, and they thought of things that I hadn't even thought of.
At Strive Medicare, we're here making Medicare simple for our Coulee region neighbors. We're located in the Social Security building in beautiful downtown La Crosse. So stop in today and get your free copy of my book, Making Medicare Simple.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So let's gear up for it with an SUV like the Ford Bronco Sport. It has a terrain management system with 5 standard GOAT modes, so you can go over any type of terrain. Plus, 4x4 capability is standard across the entire lineup. Be adventure ready with Ford Bronco Sport. Now, get a new Ford Bronco Sport with 1.9% financing for 66 months, plus $2,000 FlexBuy cash, only at your local Northland Ford dealers.
When the insurance company sees Bygoff and Rohde on the other side, they know they're in for a fight. It's your life, but it's our fight. And they know that if they're not being fair with us, they will find themselves in court, and that's how Bygoff and Rohde gets results for its clients.
Welcome back. President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has agreed to a plea deal with the Department of Justice, which could end more than a 5-year investigation into tax problems and an illegal gun possession. Hunter Biden still has to appear in court, and a judge must sign off on the deal before it becomes official. Skylar Henry is at the White House with details about the case.
President Biden says he will continue to love and support his son as Hunter Biden agrees to a plea deal with the Department of Justice. Hunter Biden is pleading guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax charges, and he will admit to illegally possessing a gun while being a drug user.
What this indicates is that the Department of Justice thought this is where they could get an agreement. This is where they, if they went to trial, could show proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Hunter Biden is expected to receive probation for the tax charges. He'll have the gun charge removed after 2 years if he completes a diversion program.
I think the judge is going to do what's fair, and I think what's fair is, my client gets on with his life.
U.S. Attorney David Weiss, who was first appointed by former President Trump, defended the sentencing recommendation in a statement, saying actual sentences for federal crimes are typically less than the maximum penalties. Hunter Biden's charges come as President Biden is in the midst of a re-election campaign, and the leading Republican candidate is facing legal challenges of his own. Republicans strongly criticized the recent indictment of former President Trump, saying it shows the Department of Justice is biased.
If you are the president's leading political opponent, the DOJ tries to literally put you in jail and give you prison time. If you are the president's son, you get a sweetheart deal.
Trump himself called Biden's plea deal nothing more than a traffic ticket. Others say he's comparing apples to oranges. Skyler Henry, CBS News.
Now, House Republicans say they will continue to investigate Hunter Biden's business dealings as part of a broader investigation into President Biden. The clock is ticking for the missing submarine that disappeared in the North Atlantic on its way to view the wreckage of the Titanic. Coast Guard officials say the 5-passenger submersible lost contact about an hour and 45 minutes into its dive. With only enough oxygen to last 96 hours, the crew will have until Thursday morning before oxygen runs out. The Coast Guard says this rescue mission is a race against time.
This is a very complex search, and the unified team is working around the clock to bring all available assets and expertise to bear as quickly as possible.
Locating the sub is the first step. Getting to the crew members in time may prove to be just as difficult, as the sub lost signal 2/3 of the way down to the ocean's floor. Electric bikes have become very popular in the past few years, but experts say the batteries inside can be very dangerous. A fire in a New York City shop that left 4 people dead and others in critical condition was caused by the lithium batteries in electric bikes and scooters that were inside the building. Lithium batteries have been connected to over 100 fires in New York this year alone, and e-bikes have been the culprit of numerous fires across the country. Experts say there are simple ways to prevent fires.
I'd say first and foremost, follow the manufacturer's instructions. Every one of these products is a little bit unique. There's a couple of steps there that we can take to make sure that we try to reduce these numbers of fires.
Experts say it's important to be present when charging your bike and never charge while you are sleeping. Congress is now considering legislation that would create a federal safety standard for lithium batteries that are used in e-bikes. Electric automaker Rivian is accepting Elon Musk's invitation to use Tesla's superchargers for its cars. Today, the Amazon-backed company announced it will be adopting Tesla's North American charging standard, known as NACS. Beginning in 2025, Rivian will start building its R1T pickup and R1S SUV with NACS-style charging ports. Its upcoming smaller models will also have the Tesla-style charging ports. However, for those that are current Rivian owners, the company said by spring of next year, customers will be able to use adapters to access them. After the break, it is never too early to start thinking about a future career path. The new hands-on experience that's allowing Cooley Region students to see everything the healthcare field has to offer.
Well, what we just had today across the area could look very similar throughout the rest of this week. Stay tuned. I'll have your first warn full weather forecast coming up next after the break. Well, it sure was a hot one today as high temperatures were in the low 90s under lots of sunshine. Now for tonight, we're going to be under the influence of clear skies and temperatures dropping into the 50s tonight in La Crosse County. Some spots further towards the west could be looking at lows in the low 60s. Meanwhile, across our southern communities, we're looking at lows tonight into the upper 50s and low 60s with 60 tonight in Stoddard. Lows reaching the 50s all across much of our central zones here tonight as well with 55 tonight in Blair. And as we head north into the Chippewa Valley. Our northern zones looking at lows into the mid to upper 50s with 59 tonight in Eau Claire. So overall, your forecast tonight in La Crosse County, 63 with clear skies, and overall a pretty seasonable night to work with. Easterly winds light at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And as we head into the day tomorrow, very similar conditions here. High temperatures reaching 92 degrees, very hot for this time of the year under mostly sunny skies and light southeast winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Your zone forecast for the day tomorrow, again, very similar to what we had today, upper 80s and low 90s here to work with. And same story here down to the south across our southern communities. We're looking at highs around 90 in Soldiers Grove. Meanwhile, into the central zones, upper 80s, low 90s here as well with 88 in Arcadia and 88 in Alma Center, upper 80s to low 90s across our northern zones. In Eau Claire, you're looking at 89 degrees with sunny skies. So we're under the influence of high pressure across the area. That's going to help keep our weather pattern quiet here as we head throughout the night tonight. And as we take you into tomorrow, at least the first part of it, you can see that we're looking at mostly clear skies. And the same story can be said here throughout the rest of the day tomorrow. Just a few passing clouds here with that southerly wind breeze in place. Upper level ridging of high pressure continues to dominate our weather pattern here across the upper Midwest. And you can see it's pumping in a lot of dry and hot air across the area for us to work with as we head into tomorrow again here. And it looks like this pattern isn't going away anytime soon because this is going into Friday, and you can see this upper level ridging here continues to dominate, giving us hot and dry conditions. But there is some silver lining here. We do have some changes on the way with the pattern. This upper level low pressure system is forecast to move in our general direction here by early next week, and that could give us some rain chances to work with as we head into this weekend and some cooler temperatures behind that storm system as we head into early next week. But you can see we're still going to be well above average in terms of our temperatures here over the next several days, and you'll see that on the 8-day forecast as high temperatures will be into the low 90s here throughout these next several days. Now, again, we have those rain and thunderstorm chances in the forecast for both Saturday and Sunday, but the rest of the 8-day forecast still looks mainly dry and hot. Low temperatures in the 60s. We're talking about highs into the 80s, though, as we head into the first half of next week behind that storm system that's going to be giving us some rain here on Saturday and Sunday. Our highs are going to go from the 90s to the 80s Monday through Wednesday. Low temperatures still remaining somewhat consistent there into those low to mid 60s. Back to you.
Eating healthy can be a struggle year-round, but it can be especially hard over the summer. Kids are out of school and routines are disrupted. Well, Mandy Gaither has ideas for some healthy summer snacks for the little ones.
More time at home may mean less time focusing on healthy eating habits.
Kids need 3 meals and 2 to 3 snacks per day. So our job as the caregiver is really to set that routine and what that looks like for our children.
Dietitian Catherine Sherry says keeping kids healthy over the summer should start at the grocery store. Let children be a part of the process, allowing them to pick out which fruits or veggies they'd like to eat. When it comes to snacks, Sherry says pair them with at least 2 different food groups.
Having a trail mix with a piece of fruit. So we've got some protein and then we've got the fiber in the fruit. Having some popcorn, maybe with some edamame. We've got the fiber with the popcorn and we've got some protein with that edamame.
Other ideas, freeze-dried fruit and some peanut butter crackers, yogurt, fruit, and some crunchy cereal so they can make their own yogurt parfait. A hard-boiled egg and cheese is a great high-protein snack, or some hummus, veggies, and crackers to dip.
All of those snacks are well-rounded that have fiber, protein, and help to keep your kiddo fuller longer.
Meals should continue being balanced too. Sherry says to fill half the plate with fruits and veggies, the other half with protein and whole grains. And finally, make sure your child stays hydrated. Offer water throughout the day.
Ensuring that we're not drinking too much of the sodas, the juices, the Gatorades that have a lot of sugar in them.
Dietitians also say that allowing kids to fill up a snack basket in the pantry or a drawer in the fridge will allow them to know where to grab healthy snacks. And letting your kids help chop and prepare food can also help make meal or snack time more exciting and encouraging them to eat those healthier foods. Western Technical College is helping students prepare for a potential career in healthcare. Today, the campus is hosting the first ever healthcare hullabaloo for middle school students. The 2-day event aims to educate students on topics such as anatomy, physical therapy, and dietetics, and the different jobs in the healthcare field. Organizers say these workshops help students see and understand the different paths they can take in the field.
When students come into school, they think, okay, well, I want to be a nurse or I want to be a doctor. And to understand that there are different healthcare careers and to see what they look like. And I think most of us have some sort of seminal experience when we're in middle school or high school that says like, oh, this is maybe a career I want to pursue.
One student who plans to be a nurse said when she heard about this opportunity, she was excited to keep furthering her education about the healthcare field.
I'm here because in my future, I want to be a healthcare worker. And I think that this opportunity is an opportunity where I can learn stuff so I know what I'll be getting into in the future.
Now, Western Technical partnered with UWL, Viterbo, and both Mayo and Gunderson to help give students a hands-on experience with activities and facilities. When we come back this evening, the beloved comedian that will once again tackle the hottest subjects across the world on a new platform. We'll have the details next. Former Daily Show host Trevor Noah is back in the spotlight once again, this time as a Spotify podcast host. A Tuesday press release says the weekly show will blend Noah's humor with his global perspective on the hottest and most captivating topics of the moment. It says the show will also feature influential and interesting figures from around the world. The name of the podcast has not been released yet, but it will launch later this year. We will have one final check of tonight's forecast when we come back.
The last check on your 8-day forecast and get ready for yet another hot day tomorrow. Highs reaching the low 90s on the first official day of summer, so we're going to kick it off with a bang there. And then throughout the rest of the week, highs in the low 90s. Looking at a chance of showers and storms, though, for this weekend. Back to you.
Looks like we'll be cranking the AC the rest of the week. Thank you very much, Derek, and thank you all for joining us tonight at 5. We appreciate your time. Hope to see you again at 6.